My name is Faris Ghawi. I was just wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about how the two-state solution would affect the Arab citizens of Israel, and would that make it more likely that they will receive equality?
If this vision will be seriously implemented in the way that I describe it, 1967 borders, East Jerusalem as a capital of the state of Palestine, two-state solution, I think that's why I said in the very beginning, we, the Arab minority in Israel, are the most interested in this solution because of mutual interest, both because we are Palestinians and because we are citizens. I think that then the excuse of security reasons and security instability and national conflict will not be there in order to justify the discrimination and the inequality. But if you are a democratic state, you should not correlate or say that there is any correlation between any dispute, important as it is, and the situation of your citizens, all of your citizens. That's why we are very much pushing for this kind of solution, the two-state solution.
Ambassador Murphy.
Thank you very much for your talk, sir. In an earlier period, and I am not aware of what the current situation is, the Histad route was seen as fully supportive of Palestinian Arab-Israeli workers. Has that continued? Has that push for equality in the workforce continued? And is there any other organized Israeli grouping that you look to for particular support among the Israeli Jewish population?
Thank you very much, Ambassador Murphy. As a director and as a committee leader in the Knesset dealing exactly with this issue of employees and work and absorption of Arabs, I can't say that the situation is encouraging in absorbing Arabs in the public sector or even in the private sector. There are built-in obstacles, infrastructure problems, shortness of industry in all Arab towns and all Arab areas. And there are some Jewish organizations who are supporting us in our struggle to be equal and our employees to be absorbed. They are minority. They are courageous, and we are working together in order to change this grave reality and to try to elevate the percentage of Arabs who are employed in the public sector from 6.7 to more than 10 in the way to be equal, because we are 20% of the population and affirmative action should be done. Yet there are a verbal support of affirmative action, but there is no affirmative action policy meanwhile in Israel. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Fauzi.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tibi. It was very interesting. I live it too, as you know. You mentioned that there are 40 discrimination laws in Israel. Can you give us some examples?
Yes, of course. Not all the 40 here, because I don't know if you know the so-called citizenship law. At 2004, a decision of the Israeli government was taken, and then it was it happened to be a law in the Knesset, practically preventing a couple, a Palestinian couple, from living together if they are a Palestinian citizen of the State of Israel and a Palestinian woman or a man from the West Bank or Gaza. According to this new law for the last years, if a Palestinian man from Nazareth or Jaffa or Taybe is to marry a Palestinian woman from Tulkarem, for example, he, at any case, cannot bring her to live with him in Taybe, inside Israel, even in non-permanent status, as a visitor. Even as a visitor, they are not being allowed to live together. As to say that this love story of those Palestinian couples is a threat to the security of Israel and to Zionism dream. At least 21,000 families were hurted because of this anti-democratic law. Some judges in the Supreme Court of Israel, 5 against 6, it passed in 6 against 5. 5 of them said that it is against human dignity and it is anti-democratic. But year after year, it renewed in the Knesset as one of the most outrageous laws in the that the Knesset had served. There is another laws, for example, Arab citizen cannot buy or rent so-called state land, which is the vast majority of the lands of now in Israel. These lands, so-called state lands, were originally our lands, and it was confiscated. And those confiscated land became state land that we cannot use, rent or buy. 2 examples is good.